spreading some joy that's taking an unfortunate circumstance into a positive
Love
outcome.
it. Love it.
And I asked her to pass it forward as well.
Welcome to the Joy First Foundation podcast. This is where we discuss what it's like to give a joyful moment, how you can give joyful moments, and all the goodness that comes with the possibilities of what can be joyful for many people. Tune in as we discuss what it's like to be with Joy First Foundation, what you can do easily to bring random moments of joy to others. Hope you enjoy listening. Thank you. Today we revisit John Simpson, and I'm talking like I'm in a wildlife preserve as we discuss joy quietly with John Simpson, who's a huge Joy First ambassador. He tells us how we can take a difficult situation and turn it into a joyful moment. Please have a listen and enjoy, and I hope that this inspires you to take whatever situation you have in front of you and create a joyful moment. You too can be a Joy First ambassador just because you exist. Hi, John.
Here I am again.
I know, I haven't seen you since Texas. Well, that's
No,
not true.
that
You
was
came to visit
in September,
in September, but we didn't record anything about it.
but I've been traveling.
You have been traveling, and you've had some experiences making joyful moments, like
Indeed.
an amazing Joy First ambassador.
It's a good thing I had some of those cards with me in my wallet. The first experience I had, I was in Pahrump, Nevada.
Yeah.
When I left out of here at the end of September, my priority was to get back to Pahrump, Nevada, so that I could be registered to vote in the recent election.
Right.
And my mail forwarding service is in Pahrump, Nevada. Very early on, I went over there to check on my mail, and I had a very interesting conversation with Linda, who runs the business.
Okay.
And we've been keeping in touch pretty constantly over the years.
Great.
And I've been sending her pictures of the places that I've been visiting, and she really enjoys that.
How fun.
And Florida had just experienced a couple of really devastating hurricanes. And I just made a remark to Linda that I was sure glad that I wasn't in Florida this last week. There was another customer who was standing off to the side, and he made a remark about, yeah, you're sure right, FEMA is not on board. And I turned around and looked at him and says, excuse me? He says, yeah, FEMA isn't doing a darn thing there for people of Florida. And I says, okay, because I've been hearing these stories on social media, which aren't true.
Right.
And I turned around and I said to him, and I raised up my hand and I says, please, I don't want to hear it. Please keep your opinions to yourself. And I went back to continue my conversation with Linda. And he had to get in his last retort. He gave me the finger.
Whoa.
And says, fuck FEMA. Took care of the rest of my business with Linda. And another one of her customers was coming out of the back carrying a big, huge box.
Okay.
And she said, oh, this is your lucky day to me. I says, well, what do you mean by that? He says, you're going to help me put this box into my vehicle. And I says, okay. So she opened up the tailgate, and it was obvious that the box was too big to fit into it.
Okay.
I suggested, well, why don't we use the side door? She said, oh, that looks like it might work. And it did work. So I pulled one of the Joy First cards out of my wallet, and I says, this is for you. This has been a very happy moment. You know, we solved the problem for you. We've turned an adversity into a positive situation. I turned that experience I had with that very unpleasant gentleman into a positive experience. That's by right. Creating this Joy First moment with this other woman. And she was very happy, you know, to have a moment, you know, where I was able to help her out, but also to send some good vibrations her way. And I told her to pass it forward. So that was the first one. As we study the wildlife of what's happening in nature at this time, we know that there is a division between people. It's one of the reasons Joy First exists. Now let's observe
what has happened here. John Simpson had a difficult moment with someone unrelated to his regular day, which that can be contagious and difficult for people. So John, in turn, turned to the next person and gave some joy and was helpful. Now, do we want to argue one person's opinion over another? No. We want to focus on the human in front of us. Now let's continue to observe. Nice. Wait, and I'm going to interrupt you here because I am going to say I've been in Miami, Arizona now for 6 months, and I think I've probably done about 500 undocumented, if not 1,000, joyful moments at First Fridays in Globe, to birthdays all over Miami, to lots of, just random, spontaneous moments at the grocery store with very random people, and on the street, and any business I run into. So these are still happening. But the beauty of this is that John is doing his own. And I love that. And you too can do your own joyful moments. And we can make things available to you, like some joys, little 3D joys, or cards, or something, if you're interested. But the easiest thing to do is give a joyful moment with whatever you have, and hashtag Joy First Foundation or hashtag Joy It Forward, and you're part of the movement. So, John, all right, go ahead. Tell us the second one.
The second experience, after I left Pahrump, I went out into the Mojave Desert to do some boondocking, which is camping without any kind of hookups. And it's a place I'd been to 2 times previously. It's called Kelso Dunes. It's in the Mojave National Preserve south of Baker, California. And there's areas and it's dispersed camping in one particular area there near the dunes. But there's one area that is extremely sandy. And when I was there 3 years ago, I was okay where I got, but the battery in my truck failed me because I had left the door slightly open.
Yeah, that happened to me in the van.
And fortunately, there was a nearby camper who was willing to try to help me jump start the battery. But unfortunately, he came in on the wrong side of where I was parking, and he got stuck in the sand. And we struggled and we struggled and we struggled. And we, through the help of a third person, we were able to get my battery charged and then to get him towed out of the sand. I had a tow strap from another previous experience of being stuck in the sand. So I was equipped. I got 4-wheel drive and the tow strap. So I was just kind of getting into my zone after sunset, after dinner, and I hear this knock on my door. And this man, whom I'm assuming was one of my neighbors, told me that somebody had driven up after dark in another van and had gotten stuck in the sand, exactly the same place where this other experience happened 3 years ago. And I said, I had a tow strap, I've got 4-wheel drive, and we'll take a look at things in the morning. First thing in the morning, I went over, talked to the woman who was in the van, said I would kind of help her get her out of her predicament. The man and his wife came over to assist. So we got her out. She was very grateful. And then I realized I could turn this into a joyful moment.
Ooh, yay.
So I took out 3 cards, walked over to the woman in the stuck van, is named Ariel, and I gave her a card and says, this is spreading some joy that's taking an unfortunate circumstance into a positive outcome.
Love it.
And I asked her to pass it forward as well. But she did say, and you'll have to verify this, that she would make a contribution to Joy First.
Oh, wow, that's lovely.
Yeah, her name is Ariel.
Katy B here, out in the wild as you continue to listen to this podcast episode. And you too can donate to Joy First by going to joyfirst.org and looking for the donate button, which should be right in front of your eyes on the website. We hope you are enjoying this episode out in the wild with Joy First, and we look forward to telling you more about what's happening. But while you are out in the bush and out in the wild, out in this big world, you too can give joyful moments yourself. Give a compliment, give a giggle, give some eye contact, share a story, and you too can receive and give a moment of joy. Back to our program.
The two people who assisted were Mike and Andrea. I gave them each a Joy First card, and they appreciate the whole concept
Nice.
of trying to raise the vibrations of the world.
Yes.
And just to make things better and to help improve personal interactions.
Yes.
They stayed there another night, and we had a little get together after sunset.
Uh-huh.
Very, very nice people from the Bay Area in California. And he and I have immediately became friends on Facebook.
Nice.
So that's carrying something else forward as well.
Yeah, I love it. Cool. So you too can give a joyful moment. You don't even need a card or a 3D something. Give somebody a compliment or a standing ovation, and you're doing your part to move us to a more equitable, positive, interactive situation every day. Because that's the whole purpose, is let's just be nicer to each other and focus on the human in front of you. I've been spending time in Miami. What does the town need? I'm just thrilled that John and I get to revisit, and I know Joy First made a difference for you, and only because you've said so. I'm not making an assumption here, but how's it been now that we look back and we left Texas 6 or 7 months ago? How's it been since then?
For the most part, it's been pretty positive. And when I'm feeling a lack of confidence, or when I'm feeling that I have made some bad decisions, and I just recounted with Kate something that happened with the trailer that should never have happened. And what I did the next morning after I surveyed the damage was I gave the trailer Ho'oponopono.
I love that.
I did it for the trailer. I apologized. I said, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you.
Thank you. I love you. Don't forget to thank you.
Well, I did forget to thank you.
Yeah, it's okay though. It still works. You can do
But
thank you, I love you,
I was
thank you,
embracing
I love
the trailer with my
love
arms.
it.
And I did it for the trailer as well as for myself.
That's
And I
beautiful.
said, the damage can be repaired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use what I've been using as joy as a platform. When things just don't seem to be going right, I can just fall back on this platform that I now have and say, don't despair.
Yeah.
Things are going to work out.
Yeah.
You may have made some mistakes, and hopefully you won't make the same mistakes again.
So Joy First is making trouble in a really good way by disrupting despair and disrupting moments and making them joyful, regardless of what's happening. And I just want to reflect and say thank you for continuing to find it valuable, as we are not in the same place as regularly anymore. This is the second time you're visiting me here in Miami, but yet it's affecting you and you are out affecting other people. And I'm so grateful for that. And I want to inspire everybody to understand, as I keep repeating in my speaking engagements, joy is reciprocal. So when you give it, you receive it. And I think you've experienced that.
Yeah. Each one of us has the ability to make someone else feel better about the situation they might be in, about how they feel about themselves. Even if they don't return that gesture correspondingly, just the fact that you have made somebody else feel better makes your own self feel better.
Right. That's right. Well, I want to thank you again for sharing your stories and for passing through. And I'm sure we'll continue to pass each other on the road and in our journey in life and travels. And thanks for this. Thank you very much for
Thank you. Thank
talking
you.
with us.
I love you.
Love you. Thank you for making it this far into Joy First in the Wild. And don't forget, you can go to joyfirst.org and donate and help support this cause. Or you can simply give a compliment to someone standing next to you at the grocery store. I want to give you a moment of joy and say thank you for being alive today. Thank you for being on Earth today. Thank you for being out in the wild on this globe as the beautiful animal that you are. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Please subscribe to Joy First Foundation's YouTube channel and podcast as we continue to interview and discuss people, joy, and joyful moments. Thank you.